Can you legally drive with cannabis in your car in Virginia without risking a fine or even an arrest? It's one of the most common questions we get, and the answer isn't as simple as yes or no. A lot has changed since 2021, and misunderstanding these rules can have serious consequences. Today, we're going deep into the weeds, pun intended, to break down exactly what Virginia law says about transporting cannabis. We'll cover the limits, the critical container rule, medical patient specifics, federal landmines, and what local enforcement in places like Norfolk and Hampton Roads really means for you. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know exactly how to stay compliant and protect yourself. Here's the context: an evolving landscape. First, let's set the stage. Virginia's cannabis laws have been on a roller coaster. In 2021, the state legalized simple possession and home cultivation for adults 21 and over. But here's the catch: the law around public use and transportation was, and still is, tightly controlled. While medical patients have had a regulated system for longer, the recreational rules created a new gray area for everyday people. Transporting cannabis isn't like carrying groceries. The state treats it more like open alcohol containers, with very specific stipulations on where it can be, how much you can have, and what it's stored in. Getting any one of these details wrong can turn a legal trip to the dispensary into a legal headache. And here's the legal explanation. Let's break down the legal pillars one by one. This is the must-know info. 1. Possession limits, the 1-ounce rule. The foundation is this: adults 21 plus can possess up to 1 ounce, about 28 grams, of cannabis in a private place. The moment you step into a vehicle, a public space under the law, this limit strictly applies. Go over an ounce in your car, and you're no longer looking at a simple civil penalty. You're now in criminal territory, with charges escalating from a Class 1 misdemeanor for 1 to 4 ounces to a felony for larger amounts. It's not about what you have at home, it's about what's physically in the vehicle. 2. The critical transport rules, sealed and out of reach. This is the most important part for anyone driving. The law states your cannabis must be in a sealed container. This means the original, child-resistant packaging from a dispensary, or a bag or jar that is fully closed and not actively open. An open baggie in the cup holder is a violation. Not accessible to the driver or passengers. Ideally, this means in the trunk. If you don't have a trunk, like in an SUV or truck, it must be in a locked glove compartment, a locked console, or behind the last upright seat, out of reach. The goal is to prove you had no intention of consuming it while operating the vehicle. An open container violation can lead to a fine and a criminal charge. 3. Medical cannabis, your documentation is key. Registered patients with a valid medical card from the Virginia Board of Pharmacy have different protections. You can transport your medical cannabis products, but you must have your physical registration card and a government-issued ID on you. A photo on your phone is often not sufficient during a traffic stop. Your medicine should also be in its original pharmacy-labeled packaging. This documentation is your shield, so don't leave home without it. Navigating danger zones. Now, let's talk about where the risks multiply. 4. Crossing jurisdictions, the federal wall. This is non-negotiable. Transporting any amount of cannabis, medical or recreational, across state lines is a federal crime. It doesn't matter if you're going from Virginia to Washington, D.C. or Maryland, where it's also legal. The moment you cross that border, you are subject to federal interstate commerce laws. This includes driving through a state where it's illegal, even if you don't stop. Federal law enforcement, like on military bases or national parks like Shenandoah, also follows this zero-tolerance policy. 5. Local enforcement and sensitive areas. Even within Virginia, local rules add layers. Cities like Norfolk may have specific ordinances or police department policies regarding enforcement priorities. Furthermore, the law is extra strict within 1,000 feet of schools, universities, and recreation centers. Penalties near these zones are enhanced. And remember, most employers have drug-free workplace policies, having cannabis in your car in the company parking lot can be grounds for termination, regardless of state law. Who it affects and real-world scenarios. So, who needs to be hyper-aware? Everyone in these categories. The recreational user running to a friend's house. The medical patient going to the pharmacy. The caregiver transporting medicine for someone else. The gig worker, Uber, DoorDash, who might have it personally or even accidentally have a passenger leave it behind. Let's play out a scenario. You have half an ounce in a sealed, smell-proof bag. You put it in your locked glove box while driving. Is that legal? Technically, it's sealed, but in a sedan, the glove box is often considered accessible to the driver. A conservative officer could argue it. Safer move? Put it in the trunk. The goal is to remove all doubt. Another one, what if you're parked and not driving? If the keys are in the ignition, even if you're just charging your phone, you're typically considered in control of the vehicle, and the rules still apply. Why this matters and final checklist. Why go through all this? Because a violation isn't just a ticket. It can mean a court date, a criminal record that affects jobs and housing, driver's license points, and massive stress. Compliance is your best protection. So, here's your quick transport checklist. Quantity check, is it 1 ounce or less in the vehicle? Container check, is it in a fully sealed, non-open package? Location check, is it in the trunk, or if no trunk, in a locked compartment or completely out of reach? Document check, medical, do you have your physical card and ID? Route check, are you staying within Virginia borders? Laws are complex and can change. Your real-world questions help everyone learn. So, I want to hear from you. What specific transport scenario are you unsure about? Maybe it's, what if I use a smell-proof bag that's not the original packaging? Or, how do the rules apply to cannabis concentrates or edibles? Or even, what should I actually say to a police officer during a stop? Drop your questions in the comments below. Our community is great at sharing experiences, and we'll look for the most common ones to answer in a future Q&A video. Your input guides what we cover next. If you found this deep dive helpful, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more clear, educational content like this. Navigating these laws is about being informed. For ongoing discussion and local Norfolk/Hampton Roads updates, visit the Norfolk City Cannabis Community link in the description. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.